Obviously a heck of a night for the program, a heck of a night for the players. I'm extremely happy for them. Obviously, we've had some ups and downs throughout the season, and to see them rewarded for their hard work and for their efforts and for all that they've been through it's a fun night. It's a fun night, and I'm excited and happy for them.
Arturo said he couldn't stop thinking about the TCU game in that final minute. Were you clammy over there? What was kind of your feeling in that final minute?
I thought we were going to be good until Chi-Chi decided he was going to repeat what we did at TCU. We had talked about it, obviously, in the timeout. I know that sometimes Twitter people don't think that I coach them, but we actually talked about it in the timeout. I don't. Sometimes you get in the heat of the moment, and unfortunately Chi-Chi did and ended up taking a bad shot, and luckily we were able to overcome it because we got to stop, on the other end. So, at the end. So sometimes the basketball gods are on your side and sometimes they're not. And I thought that at TCU, they won all the 50-50 balls, and I thought that tonight we won all the 50-50 balls, and we're the tougher team at times.
Arturo had 14 points, 7 steals. Just kind of what did you think of his night?
He was great. I thought that he kept Lipsy off balance a little bit at times just because he's so quick. He poked a couple from behind. He was able to poke one out, even just guarding him straight up. But no, I thought he did a great job. I thought that he did a good job of keeping people involved in the game and trying to make sure that everybody was pulling the same direction. I'll have to watch the film, but I don't think we had but probably 3 or 4 bad shots, and I think that was largely because he was distributing the ball and keeping everybody involved and happy.
Abu told us even in high school he's not sure he ever had a game where he knocked down 3 threes in the same one.
Well, here's what I'll say about Abu, guys, and I said this in the post-game radio. He's worked extremely hard. If you go look at his stats throughout college, his free throw shooting and his three-point shooting has really improved. And I give that as a testament, number one, to him, because he's worked his tail off, but also to the staff. I mean, we put a lot of time and effort into skill development. We put a lot of time and effort into shooting. And if you'll think about the times over the course of the summer where we were leading the country every week in number of shots made. And I just believe in the process of all that. You continue to do it and continue to do it, and then you get rewarded at the end. That's the way life is. And we've had our tough times, right? And so for those guys to stick with it and keep working, and then to be realized tonight and to play well and make all your free throws and go 3 for 5 from the 3, that's what young people need to latch onto. Understand that the work is where you build, and then you receive the benefits later.
After his third, you gave him a shrug. Kind of what was his?
I didn't want him to shoot the third. The one he made on number 3, I was like, that's one of those ones when they make it kind of like Chi-Chi. You'll see my face sometimes. I'm like, no, and he makes it. And I'm like, all right, pal, good job. But that one wasn't in the flow. His other ones were in the flow.
What about the timing of this? I mean, you had no wins over ranked teams. Now you come here late in the season and you get one. You got a crowd storming, all of those things. How important is the timing of this as you get towards trying to play for stuff?
Sure, yeah. I mean, you're coming towards the end of the season, and I always talk about it. You need to play your best basketball towards the end of the season so that you're having a meaningful March, right? And even in my introductory press conference, we talked about a meaningful March. And there were nights and games this year where I didn't think that we could have a meaningful March. But in reality, if we don't lose the TCU game, I mean, we've won. What have we won out of our last 8? Now, understand, Texas Tech, we got our butts beat, and Kansas, we got our butts beat. But every other game we've been in it, I think we're 3-3 in the last 6.
Yeah, 4-4 in the last 8.
4-4 in the last 8. And in this league, shoot, man. We'll take it, and I'm not trying to say that that's where we want to be. I don't want to be 4-4. That's not what we're here for. But it's first year in the program, and with a brand new group of guys, I'm happy to see their hard work being rewarded.
You called a timeout after they had a 9-0 run there early in the
the second half. What had you seen there, and what were you guys able to adjust in that timeout?
Well, I didn't see any defense. That was my biggest concern. You know, they had scored out of 5 out of 6 possessions, and we went 0 for 4. We turned the ball over a couple times. So I felt like I needed to bring them together and settle them down a little bit and get them back on track defensively. I thought in the first half, you know, forcing 11 turnovers, and I don't know how many points we had off those turnovers, but it was significant in the first half. I thought that's what got us going and gave us confidence, and we needed to get back to that in the second half.
You guys had allowed at least 93 points in each of your previous 3 games.
Say that one more time.
Allowed at least 93 points
Oh, okay.
in each of your previous 3 games. What clicked tonight in terms of getting guys focused? Because it looked like the intensity was there throughout, for the most part.
Yeah, and you know, I wish I had that answer for you, because this group, and I love them to death, but this group is different. We've had weeks where we had 2 great practices, and then we came out against Texas Tech and they just whipped our butt. And then we've had weeks where we weren't so good, or we even had a game where I'm trying to think, maybe it was Utah. In the shoot around, I literally had to like huddle them up and get after them, and then we played great. You know, so I have a hard time sometimes judging their effort in shoot around or their effort in practice and it translating over to the floor. But this week we did. We had a good practice. What's today? Today's Wednesday, so we had a good practice. Tuesday. We had a pretty good practice, a very short one on Sunday, and then on Monday we went bone on bone and we got after it a little bit, and then, you know, they did a great job tonight.
You know, lately we've had the chance to talk to some of your guys after some wins recently, but the way they came in here, the way they left, it was clear they were a lot more excited about this one. Given the stage, you know, a top 10 team, can the guys latch on and maybe gain some confidence more from this than even some of the other wins they've had recently?
I sure hope so. I mean, anytime you beat a top 10 team, and let me say this, guys, Iowa State's really, really good, and understand they were not at full capacity today. They didn't have Gilbert, who's a really good player, but they're so well coached. I said this to our team, that I think if they're not the #1 defensive team in our league, between them and Houston, you know what I mean, they're 1A or 1B. I mean, I think they're really, really well coached, and you know, they just are very efficient offensively. But tonight, I thought that our guys played hard and were able to disrupt a little bit. The turnovers that we caused really helped us.
In a night that you guys shot 26% from 3, you wouldn't think upsetting a top 10 team whenever you're doing that. Can that style of turning a team over so much, can that help the guys kind of understand that, hey, we can play this hard every night, and on nights that shots aren't falling?
Yeah, I mean that's the $24 question, right? Is can you play this hard every night? Can you bottle up that energy and that toughness and that discipline every single night? And that's obviously been an issue. But I mean, again, you were rewarded for your efforts and your toughness and your discipline and your tenacity tonight. You know, it's common sense that you saw it, now let's do it again, and let's try and repeat it again when we go to Waco on Saturday, and let's try and repeat it again when we go to Central Florida, and then repeat it again at senior night against Cincinnati. You got 3 games left, right? And this is a really good basketball team that we beat tonight.
I'll talk about those threes, but what was working for you guys to get him offense on the inside?
Yeah, they double team the post, and they're really good at it. My message to Abu was that they can't double team you if you go get an offensive rebound, right? And he had 3 or 4 tonight, and he was able to convert those. So I thought that really helped him. But then again, you know, when he did get the ball in the post and made a move, a lot of times he did get to the free throw line, and then he went 8 for 8 from the line. So that helped him as well.
With Tim and Chi-Chi, is it kind of like a mandatory thing for you to have a stretch 4?
I mean, in a perfect world, I really like to have a stretch 4 that can shoot the basketball, can handle. He's almost like your second point guard. And Chi-Chi at times certainly can do that. Obviously, when he took that ball length of the floor, that's a big time play. It was a bad decision, but that's impressive for a 6'8" guy to be able to do that. So we've just got to, we've got to be a little more disciplined with that.
Anything else before we wrap up?